The Howling Shadows. The moon hung low in the sky, a brilliant silver disk, casting its eerie light across the small town of Briarwood. As the night deepened, the wind picked up, rustling through the trees and carrying with it the sound of low growls. The townsfolk had long since learned to lock their doors before dusk, the tales of werewolves haunting their conversations after dark. 15-year-old Ava Mitchell had heard the stories countless times, tales of the beasts that roamed the surrounding woods, human by day and monstrous by night. She dismissed them as folklore, mere tales spun to scare children into behaving. But curiosity gnawed at her. What if, just this once, there was some truth buried within those spine-chilling narratives? One evening, fueled by a mix of bravery and foolishness, Ava resolved to venture out to the woods that bordered Briarwood. With only the light of her flashlight cutting through the darkness, she trudged through the underbrush, dismissing the prickling of her skin as nerves and the soft rustling of leaves as nothing more than critters scurrying away. Halfway through her trek, she stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. It was then that she heard it, a haunting howl that resonated through the trees, sending a jolt of fear through her veins. She froze, heart pounding. She thought for a moment to turn back, but something compelled her to continue. After all, she was just a girl in search of a story. As she stepped further into the clearing, she noticed the air felt thick, charged with an energy she couldn't quite place. Suddenly, the howls grew closer. Ava's breath quickened. Shadows flitted between the trees, moving with a speed she never imagined was possible. A chill ran down her spine as she remembered the warning given by the old woman who ran the town's apothecary. Never wander alone on a full moon, dear. The wolves will come for you. Quote, the moment of realization struck just as the first figure emerged from the tree line, its silhouette dark against the silvery glow of the moon. A wolf, but not just any wolf. It stood nearly as tall as Ava herself, muscles rippling beneath thick fur, eyes glowing like amber lanterns. Panic surged through her, and she turned to run, but there was no escape. The forest had closed in around her, each tree like a sentinel keeping watch. As she stumbled backward, another growl echoed, closer now. Out of the shadows, a second werewolf emerged, its gaze locked onto Ava with an intensity that paralyzed her. She turned to flee, adrenaline surging in her veins as she sprinted into the trees. Branches clawed at her skin, but she couldn't stop. The howls echoed behind her, angry and relentless. Then, silence. A heavy hush enveloped the woods. In the absence of sounds, her breath was deafening. She stopped, pressing her back against the rough bark of a tree, attempting to steady her racing heart. She could feel them out there, lurking just beyond sight, savoring the hunt. Suddenly, a rustling sound broke the stillness. Ava gritted her teeth, prepared to either fight or flee when she was blinded by a flash of movement. The wolves had surrounded her. She could see their eyes, now inches away, reflecting the moonlight like twin suns. Their growls harmonized, a terrifying chorus that sent shivers down her spine. But just as fear threatened to consume her, she remembered the tales again. That the werewolves were men cursed by their own greed, forced to hunt under the moonlight, trapped in a cycle of violence. Ava's mind raced. What if there was a way to break the curse? Please, she shouted into the darkness, surprising even herself. I'm not here to harm you. You don't have to chase me. The growls softened, and Ava watched as the werewolves hesitated. Slowly, one stepped closer. It was larger than the others, but its stance was less aggressive, its eyes filled with an intelligence that resonated with her. You think we chase for pleasure? It growled, voice low and haunting. It is a thirst we cannot quench. We cannot control it. Quote, what can I do? Ava asked, her voice trembling. How can I help you? The werewolf paused, the wildness in its eyes flickering as if someone still lived behind the beast. End the curse. The moon's power binds us. Break the cycle, and we return. Quote, Ava took a deep breath, steadied by resolve and the strange empathy that swelled within her. She remembered the silver pendant her grandmother had given her, claiming it would protect her from harm. I have something, she said, pulling it from her pocket. This silver, it won't harm you, will it? The werewolf regarded her slowly. It is not the weapon that binds us. It is the heart that seeks to protect and forgive, it replied. Wear it against your skin and speak the truth. Quote, Ava pressed the pendant to her chest, summoning courage. I will help you. Together, we can find a way. Quote, as dawn approached, the first rays of light crept through the treetops, illuminating the clearing. The werewolves watched her with expressions of confusion mixed with hope. An unworldly howl broke the silence, echoing the desperate longing to be free. In that instant, the power of the pendant surged. The air shimmered around them, and the beasts began to shift and change. Ava shielded her eyes as a bright light enveloped them. When it subsided, one by one, the men who had been lost to the curse stood before her, confused, weary, but undeniably human. I don't know how, but thank you, the leader said, tears glistening in his eyes. You've freed us. Quote, as the townsfolk would recount in the years to come, Ava Mitchell had broken the curse of the werewolves of Briarwood. But she would forever remember the truth she uncovered that night. The wild beasts were once men, and a heart filled with compassion could light the darkest woods.